Hello, this is Clarence Moye with Awards Daily here with Warren Littlefield, the impresario who was responsible, if you're of my age, for so many of your favorite television shows back in his days at NBC, and of course is now executive producer for such Emmy-winning series as The Handmaid's Tale and Fargo, which is what we're here to talk about today. Warren, it is a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. You have my full attention. I love talking about the shows that I make.
Excellent. I could talk to you all day because I was looking at your bio, and I mean, Cheers, Golden Girls, Friends. I mean, even though I know you didn't specifically produce it, but you were responsible for the development of it. It just all of my favorite shows. You're involved in some way, so thank you.
My pleasure. And let's not forget Seinfeld, little
Of
show.
course, of course.
Yeah, I love those years at the network. We were really proud of the content we made, and I'm happy to say that over time it holds up. Um,
Absolutely.
and yeah, ER, Law and Order.
Yep,
Yeah, there's a lot of content that has stood the test of time. I'm
absolutely.
proud of that.
I will tell you that my daughter, who is now 16, has discovered Friends streaming maybe about 3 or 4 years ago and has seen it, I think, in its entirety at least 10 times. She has watched the entire show 10 times. And we sit down and watch it together. I mean, it's insane how it has connected with her because it is timeless.
It's timeless. I think the soap opera holds up really, really well. Obviously, the cast has had quite a success following the show, but a really, really entertaining, wildly funny soap opera. You care.
Yes. Yeah.
And the most successful comedy in the history of the medium. So cheers to all of them.
Absolutely. So I want to talk about Fargo. I mean, again, I could talk to you all day about all of these wonderful series, but let's talk about Fargo. So how does someone who goes from something like Seinfeld, Cheers, Golden Girls, all of that hilarious situation comedy go to and sort of end up in the murderous comedy of Fargo?
Well, actually, I was still at NBC when the project was brought to me of let's do Fargo for network television. And I loved the film. And that was in the late 90s. And I developed a script. And the script wasn't bad. And one of the executive producers was Bruce Paltrow, who did St. Elsewhere, and I have tremendous respect for him. At the end of the day, I passed on the script because I felt that it was going to be a network television version of an iconic film. And I didn't want to disappoint the audience. So I let it go. And a year later, CBS did a pilot. Um, Kathy Bates directed it, and Edie Falco played Marge. Um, but it never went anywhere. It was a busted pilot. So importantly, Fargo never went into the universe and failed. It was a pilot that no one saw. I've never seen it. Um, but when I had developed it, they gave me a snow globe that was used as a little distribution gift from the film. And, when you run a network, you get a lot of great gifts. I always kept that nearby. It made me smile. And if you shook that snow globe, you had Marge at the side of the highway with the car turned over and blood in the snow.
Mhm.
Always stayed with me. And so I was staring at that years later as a producer, and I went, maybe it's time for Fargo. Maybe the world is ready for it. And then when we started having conversations with MGM and then also with FX, they said, look, we'd love to work with you and Noah Hawley. That's who I said, let's play in this world. And they said, look, we're not sure you need Marge to do Fargo. And Noah just lit up and said, so all new characters, all new story. It's just a sensibility. It's just the tone of Fargo. He goes, God, I like that. I love the freedom of that. And that was a dozen years ago. That began our journey of taking a very iconic film and reinventing it for television. And the ultimate compliment was the Coens read Noah's first script, and they said, we think Noah has channeled us. And yes, we'll put our names on this. I said, do you want to direct? And they were like, oh God, no. But they also said our local casting when we made the film was with a young woman in casting named Rachel Tenner. And Rachel has done every episode, every season of Fargo. That was a suggestion that we took to heart. Rachel at the time did not have a lot of TV experience. She had just come to California and she was setting up her business as a casting director. But we listened to the Coens, and Rachel has been a critical partner in our success.
Help to keep that sort of continuity in terms of the type of performer, the type of actor that you would typically see in a Coen film here in the TV show.
Yes.
And I have to say, I have that snow globe. I think they marketed it with like either the VHS or the DVD. It would be in like Suncoast back in the day. Like I'm dating myself horribly, but I do have that.
That's a it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Gave it to the then I gave mine to the then head of MGM when we began our journey. So I let it go. But every year that we do Fargo, we create our own snow globe that reflects the season that we're in, and that's a gift we give to cast and crew.
Wow, that's amazing. I would love to see what the one for season 5 looks like.
Um,
um,
Here, I just signed off on the artwork, so even I haven't seen that yet.
Tremendous. So obviously you talked about working with Noah and Noah being attracted to the project because of the freedom, the sort of the, stay in the vibe of Fargo, the film, but create your own world, create your own characters. How has your partnership with him changed over the 5 seasons that you've done?
It hasn't changed a lot.
That's good.
We There's a mutual love and respect, and also our partners at FX just kind of go, tell us when you're ready to talk about more. And so every couple of years, Noah says, here's what I've been thinking. And and he tells a tale. And then we share that with the studio MGM and our partners at FX. And they're like, let's do it. And we try and challenge ourselves. We've played in multiple decades, and there's always a thematic to it that I think Noah particularly locks into, whether it's the Walmartization of crime, right? So we look at a small family crime organization versus Kansas City mob taking over. And what does that battle look like? And who gets caught up in the middle of it? I think in season 5, we're looking at power. And John Hamm is a far right lawman who has a lot of power, right? And he decides he's going to reclaim Dot, that she is his property. And I think Dot's power is that she refuses to be a victim.
Right.
And Dot has secrets. She is not the PTA mom that we engage with in the first scene. And what is her past? What is her story? But her power is that she will not become a victim. And then, of course, Jennifer Jason Leigh, her power is money.
Right.
and 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 she is very successful. She's great with it. Um, but but then her family is threatened. And then she takes her power and puts it behind Dot. And again, I think we go smaller in terms of our canvas and our most contemporary ever in season 5. But I think the results are powerful. Also, at its core, there's a spousal abuse story. And if Fargo's a state of mind and a tone where we have um, the best of America versus the worst of America, right? And we're playing in that battle zone, it and but we also find humor. Always find humor, find absurdity in these life stories. This was a challenge for us to play in a dark place. And one of our answers was an episode with puppets. And that scared the hell out of us. I mean, how are we going to pull this off? And what if it doesn't work? And yet, for many viewers, it was the most memorable episode that we did. Um, Powerful, and the maybe the only way we could have really told that story. So I think our achievement in season 5 was we were able to nimbly dance between the dark, intense drama as well as still keep that tone of Fargo.
I have always liked and responded to each season, but this one to me feels incredibly special. It is, I think, and I don't use this word frequently. I honestly don't. I think it's Noah Hawley's masterpiece. I think this season is absolutely flawless in every way. I love every second of it. Every choice feels right. There's not a single moment that goes wrong. When you were working this out, when you were, talking to Noah about what his vision for season 5 would be about the theme of power, did you have a sense that this was something different, that this was something special?
It had been a couple years, with COVID and all of that.
Mm.
Um, the moment Noah started to talk about it, and then when he first revealed his very first pages, we're like, this is classic going home Fargo. To our core, to our roots. Noah was pretty damn giddy about it. He just felt he was in a really good place. He enjoyed writing this season, and he wrote most of it, as most years of Fargo are done. There are wonderful people who are a part of it, but Noah's carrying most of that load. And yeah, we knew. And then when we looked at that first script, and we're just like, if we deliver what's on this page, we are going to have a sensational Fargo. And then we kind of had this perfect, wonderful triangle of our core casting, and then everybody else who supported it. I think added to make it memorable. You're not alone. A lot of people have said my favorite Fargo, and you know what? If we can hit that chord, then we're happy.
And it's amazing to do it in its 5th iteration, right? I mean, usually, traditionally series like this, they start strong and then they just kind of peter out as ideas become stale. But this just feels fresh in a way. I mean, you would, had I not known, I would think this was the first one that he'd ever done.
Yeah. Well, amazing that it's a dozen years later, right?
Right.
So we are a mature Fargo,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think this will always be a very, very special place in our life as content creators. We'll, it's hard to imagine letting go of Fargo.
Yeah.
I don't think we can. And so we drop a lot of things to come together to do Fargo.
I love how this season you talked about John Hamm's character being the leader of this far right extremist movement. Um, obviously that taps into it's almost holding a political mirror up to what's going on within the last 2 or 3 years in American culture. This political unrest, this political disquiet in certain coordinates of the society. Um, were you at all, what were the goals for introducing that from Noah's perspective and yours?
Well, I think when we decided that we were going to be more or less contemporary,
Mhm.
uh, and we always have to back it up a couple years because we begin with this is a true story. So that's always a reflection on a time and place, right? So 2019. And I think if you're telling a story that involves crime and punishment, and being able to hold the mirror up to who we are, you're kind of obligated to say this is who we are. And John Hamm is righteous in all of his beliefs, and he wields a lot of power. He speaks of the Bible, and yet people are dying at his hands. And so, where's the where's the truth? Where's the morality? Where's the justice in this man who carries this badge? And I think what we try and do is say complex character who has really, really strong belief system and feels that he has been something has been stolen. Um, Dot is his property, and he has to reclaim it. And we're allowed to go into that headspace. And John Hamm really inherits that character. And and let's try and understand that sensibility. And then, let's hold him responsible also.
Right.
And Jennifer Jason Leigh does exactly that.
Something has been stolen from him, yes, the dot, but you also get the sense that he feels his country has been stolen from him
That's
in
right.
the same way.
That's right. Um, and he is speaking about a loss of American values. And there's truth in that. We don't want to make him a comic character. We want to really truly believe what he believes. We want to understand his values.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, um, you can't own another human being. And at
Right.
the end of the day, um, hopefully in a Fargo world, there is murder, but you don't get away with it. And so we try and always find justice, and I think some satisfaction. That's important. We're trying to hold up that mirror, relate to the audience, but at the end of the day, give them a satisfying and an entertaining story. And I think we accomplished that in a really, really satisfying way this year, in an unexpected way. I think when you're deep in the season, you just don't know what the outcome is going to be. You know it's going to be a classic Western. You feel like
Right.
you're leading to the showdown at the OK Corral, right? Um, and then we try and do that as well.
Last question for you. You've got this amazing ensemble cast led by Juno Temple, led by John Hamm, led by Jennifer Jason Leigh, among many, many, many incredibly talented actors who all have wonderful moments. In working with the casting director, was there a particular role that was more challenging to cast than others?
No, I wouldn't say that. We are so fortunate that kind of the street cred we have in the casting community is come to Fargo and spend your winter in Calgary and have a blast. And there's such a sense, I mean, what the moment there's a rumor that we're doing another Fargo, calls start coming in. There's no
Amazing.
scripts out there, there's nothing, just agents on behalf, friends, actors, friends of, everybody goes, I love it. I don't care what it is. Just find a place for me. And so it's not to say that that Rachel doesn't have a difficult job because you've got to make the right decisions, but people want to be a part of this, and we're proud of that, and we're also proud of kind of the experience we give them. It's a long, cold winter, but no one ever complains. They love it.
Absolutely. I can't imagine. I mean, it would seem incredibly fun. Well, Warren, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the television of my youth and the
Uh,
television of today. You have impacted me and my family and my lives so tremendously.
Thank you. That's so kind, and I'm so happy that that's still in your household, working that way. I really love that. That gets me fueled.
Excellent. Take care. Thank you. Bye bye.